Before Janet and I left for Kenya, Tony and Teddy Kamau did an excellent job of preparing us for what they knew and what they didn't know. When you go on a trip like this one, key parts are planned, but you have to remain flexible to last-minute changes. Once we arrived, it was good to get an exposure to people in the different areas of Kenya. I'm glad we visited some of the pastors' communities in coastal Kenya prior to the 3-day seminar in Mombasa, so that we could relate to the pastors better and appreciate the living conditions of their congregations.
These people have hard lives. You know, they have many of the same concerns that we have, concerns about their children's welfare and future, concerns about their health, of their family and friends, employment and financial concerns. But on top of all of those stresses, they have the very heavy burden of just day-to-day living. They have to collect wood to cook, and they still go to significant efforts to get water for day-to-day living.
I was surprised how much time it took and how much effort it took to get to some of these locations. And I was impressed at the effort that the bishop and that the pastors obviously go through regularly to reach their church members in rural outlying areas.
I noticed the faces as we traveled. We had to stop for police barricades and for traffic, and a lot of times the locals would come to the vehicle either trying to sell us something or curious about the white people inside. But their faces weren't very happy. Sometimes they even looked angry. And on Lamu, there was an area with a greater than 95% Muslim population. We had to weave through the streets, and there were very unpleasant smells and crowds and more unhappy faces. And then we reached the area where the church property is, and we heard children laughing and women working together and very relaxed. Even Pastor Daniel's sick daughters had smiles for us. And it happened again under a tree where Pastor Ronald had recently established a church. Singing and smiling and a sense of calm and joy. This could only come from God. Clearly, where there was Christ, there was joy and hope, despite the hardships.
I saw God working in the pastors. They obviously had a zeal for spreading the joy of Christ to their flock, and they had a passion for reaching out to the communities. They wanted to save souls for Christ. This meant long commutes on bicycles, dirt bikes, and even taking boats. The radio engineer, Benjamin, obviously had Christ working through him with the skill and dedication he showed. He was enabling Christian broadcasting all throughout Central Africa, and he was such an inspiration to me, spending a day with him. I saw God in the boundless energy, the drive, and the charity of the bishop. I saw Christ in the gracious sharing of meals at the pastors and the other homes that we visited. I saw it in the eyes, the smiles, and I heard it in the voices of the children that sang and danced for us at the church locations we visited. And I heard God in the Swahili hymns we sang during the worship services. And finally I saw God in that single church and child care center in the otherwise Muslim city of Lamu.
And God was working on me while I was there. One night I was tired and stressed and worried about the content for the next day's workshop, and I just prayed to God, and a wonderful sense of calm came over me. I heard him saying, you know, they want to hear from me. They want to speak to me. And it just became clear to me, this is not about the team. It's about God speaking to his people in Kenya. God's given the leadership of AIC Coastal Kenya a unique vision to reach his flock. And they're doing it through schools and establishing churches to bring in the children and then their mothers and then the rest of their family. They're doing it through broadcasting in the native tongues. God is doing a tremendous work there.
We need to continue to help Kenya Africa Inland Church by sponsoring their local missionaries, by enabling better transportation, by continuing to provide bicycles and motorcycles, and continuing to support their Christian broadcasting through the radio and studio equipment purchases, and providing them even sermons and other radio content for broadcasting. And also continue outreach and education to the pastors' wives.
We also want to thank you for the support that we felt from you while we were there. The entire team enjoyed good health. We all got along very well, despite some very difficult circumstances. And your financial and prayerful support was felt. That is what brought the entire team safely there and returned us safely home. And we thank you all.